Hello and welcome to the Fixing Football podcast with me, Martin Naylor, and tonight I am here with Liam O'Meara and Luke Foley. Liam, how are you doing?
I'm very good. I'm a bit alarmed by this stranger on the podcast. Don't know who this person is that's with us today, but I'm well, Martin. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Luke, how are you?
Okay, Martin, how are you?
Yeah, I'm alright. What's been going on, Liam? Talk to me, what's happening?
In a personal sense or just in generic football sense? I've been running a lot and exercising a lot, Martin. That's been going on in my life. I am a new man, an athlete, if you will. And yeah, if anyone needs any running tips, or Luke, I know you're training for stuff all the time. If you need any advice, just give me a shout. Martin, I know you're looking at the 10k. Do you want me to sort of coach you on that, help you get where you need to go on that?
Yeah, any advice is good. Be alright when I can start running again. But yeah, I'll be.
Why? What's holding you back, Martin?
I have an Achilles that won't fix,
Ooh.
so I need to. I'm trying to get that right. I've worked out that I can get on the cross trainer again without being in pain.
What was the cause of that? Because I had a bad Achilles, didn't I? I ruptured mine 3 or 4 years ago.
I think it's DJing in bad footwear. Like,
I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting that to be the answer then.
Well, it's the only thing I've done that it could have been. I haven't ran a marathon and done anything. That was prior to starting gymming and stuff. Again, I think bouncing around on not suitable flooring, wearing unsuitable shoes is I think been the problem.
Standing still. Imagine you stand still for a while doing that.
If you're really bad and you don't like music, you probably do stand still. I think it's the moving around in one spot. It's probably not good. I wear like Vans for DJing, like Converse style shoes, and it doesn't seem to go well.
Is there no like you have golf footwear and bowling shoes? Is there no DJing shoes?
Not that I'm aware of. You can call them anti-fatigue mats, and you can. It's basically like a little cushioned flooring that some DJs take with them, like a mini rug almost that's like padded. Some people will use them, but,
like a carpet that they carry around with them.
Yeah,
you've got a lot of gear anyway, though, haven't you? That's just adding to the gear that you have to carry around.
Not really. I don't carry a lot of gear.
By gear, I mean DJ equipment.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I just don't carry a lot. I don't. There's people who do that for me now.
Oh.
So, anyway, I'm trying to work on my Achilles to get that better. Other than that, I just booked the biggest gig of my career, but it's a bit hush hush at the moment.
Oh.
But that's coming up this summer, so I'm very excited about that.
Can you give any hints?
It's a big party.
In summer.
Over a couple of days. Anyway.
Is it the Arsenal Premier League title parade?
Well, that's not been booked yet. And this week we found out we're having a boy.
Hey!
Due in June. So, got that to look forward to. 10k training, a boy, big gigs.
Is there a way you could combine them into one training event?
I hope not. I'm busy enough, mate. I don't. It's a lot of headache, that. But yeah, would have been nice to get a few more messages from some friends over last week. But you can't expect too much from people these days. Luke, how are you doing? How's life?
Okay, yeah. I suppose on the running topic, full steam ahead to Manchester Marathon, which is end of April. So my next race will be Edale Skyline, which is a fell race. But other than that, yeah, it's just full on training at the moment.
Lovely. I thought we could review the transfer window, seeing as our last episode was right at the end of it. But I'm just trying to think of any big news. I think Aston Villa probably the big winners. Let's start. Well, just cutting short our personal chat. Let's get back onto football. Aston Villa the big winners, Liam, of the transfer window.
Yeah, I've always found that a weird way of measuring it, winning the transfer window. That's always been a weird one for me. They certainly were the most active on deadline day, and fans do like a club to do business on deadline day. So, Asensio, that's an interesting one. He looked lively in his debut on Sunday. So that was an interesting one. Obviously, Marcus Rashford, which we'll get into Rashford, I think, in a bit more detail later in the pod, because it's hard to not talk about that with Luke being here. But it does make sense as a good second striker option, particularly someone who can play out wide. So on paper, it makes sense he was available to come in that position. So yeah, they were the most active. Winning it, I don't know. I feel like they were forced to sell John Duran, which they probably didn't want to do, but circumstances meant they had to. So I don't know if I'd say they won the transfer window, but they're certainly the most active.
Well, they got 70 odd million for a striker who only gets on the bench for them most weeks, and is very good, John Duran. But they got 70 odd million for someone who's been there 18 months and only plays half the games, and bought in 2 quality players on loan, plus buying Donnell Marlon. I'm trying to think if there was someone else I missed. They got Disasi from Chelsea.
Oh yeah, they did do that. Yes, they did.
Is that on loan or is that a buy? I'm not sure. Either way, they've got good numbers in.
Yeah, if only we had a Chelsea expert that could tell us whether that won that. But anyway, yeah.
And I'm just trying to think who else did any credible business, because it seemed like a quiet one. Well, Man City, I guess.
Man City, I believe, spent almost half the money the Premier League spent in this window.
I thought they'd spent more. They spent more this window than all the Premier League clubs did in the last January window.
It's a massive thing, and yeah, I mean, Mamouche looks a good sign. We talked about him last week's podcast, so don't need to go into too much detail. But they absolutely needed it. They absolutely needed the cover. They are floundering, and they still don't look great, to be completely honest. So we'll see how much of an impact that they've made. They're not great signings, I don't think, though.
No, I don't. I'm not big. I'm yet to be sold on Mamouche, even though he looks the most lively of the ones they've brought in. Victor Riche seems a big prospect, but again, I think from listening to some other podcasts, people are surprised at him being the one to be, make it out next from the Brazilian league to the Premier League. I'm just trying to think if there's any other big signings that I'm missing. Obvious ones.
I think the big signing across Europe was Kvaratskhelia going to PSG. I think that's the big signing.
Yeah, I thought that'd make things snowball a little bit, but
not really. It hasn't. Looks like they're banking that money a little bit. Napoli, they've sort of rejigged the formation a little bit to more of a traditional sort of Conte style. So yeah, I thought I was convinced they'd spend. They're in a title race. I was convinced they'd spend that money, but they haven't.
Am I right? Did Osimhen not go anywhere? So is he back at Napoli now?
I don't know, to be honest. Maybe he's staying at Gala for the rest of the year. Maybe I don't remember seeing him back at Napoli, so maybe he's staying at Gala for the rest of the year. But wasn't really reported over here, so my guess would be there.
Luke, Man United's transfer window, anything?
Abysmal, but it just seems like this reluctant to spend because it seems like we have financial troubles, or is the board not backing Ruben Amorim? It's worrying, I suppose. Just before we move to United, I think the big news is from the transfer window is no one actually got the striker that they wanted. There's a need for a lot of teams.
Yeah, on us not getting a striker, Arsenal, I sit sort of a little bit on the fence in that there was a story that we didn't match Ollie Watkins' valuation. Now I think the deal, from listening to some people in the knows, the Ornsteins of this world, said that Villa, he had been basically offered out to Arsenal, but then they wanted, and we said, all right, we'll give you 40 million, and they were like, no, we want 60, and that seemed to be a bit too much for us. For a 29-year-old, would I have still done it? I'd have probably been happy if we'd have done it. And even though he wasn't top of my list, I think we should have been a lot more aggressive and gone for someone. But that option clearly wasn't there, and I do. I don't know if respect is the right word, but I do sort of respect the fact that if the one wasn't there, that we haven't just gone and bought anyone, and then had another problem in a year's time. If we'd have signed a 29-year-old Watkins, for example,
would that have been poor business from a Villa point of view, though? If they would have sold Watkins and got rid of Duran, really? Well, they're betting on the Rashford sign, aren't they? Like,
yeah, I think so.
So was it likely? Probably not likely. He's going to come to Arsenal when that move went through.
Well, the move came from Villa's end,
Yeah.
more so. So I don't know. I don't know. It was right that once John Duran had gone, and I think Liam had said that I don't think Watkins is going to move now, and I couldn't see it either. I couldn't see any rationale in it, but that seemed to be the play from Villa, whether they were just looking for younger, younger targets or something like that, and trying to clear it out, given the fact that they got big money in for Duran as well. I don't know. It wasn't just us who was looking for a striker. I think a lot of people were, yourselves included, probably. So
I think in hindsight, both United and Arsenal probably would have taken Kolo Muani a little bit more seriously. That loan option seems to be silly to not have got involved in, and he looks like he's got off to a good start already at Juve as well. I think he's bagged in his debut. So I feel like that may have been a missed opportunity, particularly as a loan deal.
Maybe if that one had dragged on to the last day, then maybe I think more people would have been interested. But Juve seemed to get that one done early-ish, maybe the within the last week of the window. So yeah, I think that option just skipped by everyone a little bit. I hate this waiting for the last day to do anything. It's so annoying.
I think there was a lot of interest in that the Tell signing. I think we was interested at one point. I think you was interested, and then Spurs seemed to just come sweep him under.
But it's like Bayern wanted €8 million loan fee, and this is for a 19-year-old who, he was good. I think he sort of came in and around the team last season when Kane was injured, but he's not scored a goal this season. Looking for a guy, and is that where you want to be chucking £5 million for someone to warm your bench? It doesn't really matter. So I don't know. He might be a talented guy. I haven't seen enough, and clearly other people haven't seen enough. But Tottenham needed to take the gamble, as I'm sure we'll talk about Tottenham in a little bit. They need bodies in, or they needed bodies in.
Should we talk about the Rashford then? I think it's.
So what do you feel about Rashford leaving on loan? By the way, because one of his quotes was that I'm only here for a short time. In his Villa interview, I'm only here for a short time, so I want to make the most of it. Blah blah blah. Prove to people. Blah blah blah. He didn't look great. Like the memes going around of him looking a bit dishevelled in his signing photos. But I mean, how do you feel?
Well, from the last episode I was on, I kind of said that was our number one priority to kind of get rid of Rashford, because it does seem like it was a dark cloud, a big top news story every week. So getting the low move, I think it's a good move, but so I watched the game last night because I was intrigued to see what he plays like. So he came on for the last 25 minutes, and he seemed like he was running after the ball and putting effort in, and it kind of it was annoying to watch, to be honest. And I was kind of hoping him not to score. I'm kind of quite bitter, to be honest, about it. And that message that Sancho sent on Instagram or something like that proper wound me up. And you could probably tell a bit in the group chat.
What did he say to him?
He put freedom with like hands up emoji. So that's outrageous, and it kind of tells the culture that was in there in the dressing room. Maybe it was a Rashford, Sancho, and all them kind of players, Lingard, that was putting a bad kind of
Stink.
vibe. And maybe Rashford was the rat.
Maybe. There's a lot in that. There's a lot of people around Rashford, so maybe there's something in that. I think that we said this about Ten Hag, that needed to be cleared out, and it wasn't. And then you saw people like De Gea leave, and more people leave, and this rat still wasn't cleared out. Maybe it is Rashford. I guess we'll not know until this is all done and dusted. How do I feel about Rashford? I think this scenario might be the best possible one for Man United, and you let him go and get super busy with Aston Villa and do the business. You ain't catching Aston Villa. You're Man United's main priority now is doing what they can in the Europa League and not getting relegated, because they're like 1 point above Everton or something at the moment. They're in a shit situation. They're not getting relegated, but it's worrying that with Man United when there's more teams above you than there isn't. So let Rashford go and do the business. Let him spread his wings and feel free and post all that shit about him, and then Man United collect the biggest packet possible for him at the end of the season. Let him put himself in the window. Be bitter about it and spend the money wisely. I think this is the only way it could have been resolved, with you getting the best money for him eventually.
But to that point, though, I still think we're going to have a situation at the end of the season that, for instance, if it doesn't go too well and Villa are not really interested, we're going to have a player back on a wage on £300,000 a week. Who's going to take that? Which team in Europe's going to do that? We're going to be we're in a sticky situation. So I am bitter that he's gone away, and if he does well, I will be bitter. But at the same time, it's probably for the best. So maybe Villa will kind of say, okay, we'll give you 20 million, and then I don't know how they're going to pay the 300,000.
Yeah, let them worry about that. Yeah. You just want him gone. He ain't been doing it for 2.5 years for you. So you don't. The idea of Marcus Rashford doing well for Man United is just a pipe dream now. Liam, agree, disagree? Where do you feel? Where do you stand?
I think Amarin's closed the door with the way he's talked about him for the last few weeks. Quite outrageously, really. I'm surprised more's not been made of it. A lot of people have been quite supportive of Amarin's comments, but I thought they were quite distasteful. I thought they were quite strong. And you wouldn't really hear that from other managers, really. But everyone seemed to just sort of accept it for Rashford. I think I said quite early on that United fans were very keen that Rashford didn't get a chance under Amarin, really. I think I made that point day one, didn't I? That all I kept hearing that was Rashford's the problem, and I think so United fans have kind of nodded along and gone along with this, but I think it's quite bad how he talks about him. And I think in terms of Luke's point about him at the end of the year, there'll be no clubs queuing up for him with the way that his manager's spoken about the way he conducts himself. He's very lucky to get this loan, really. This is another problem.
Rashford scores 12, 15 goals now, though, to the end of the season. People will think, oh, there's a Rashford I can get.
I don't think top clubs do. And I think only top clubs pay that money in terms of a contract. I think top clubs will be very much worn off by the way Amarin's talked about him. Completely. So I think that either way they're going to be paying that. Let's say it does go well, it does score some goals, and he does get a move. I think United will be paying a lot of that $350,000 a week for some years yet.
Have you heard the reasons why the kind of fallout between Amarin and Rashford?
Enlighten us.
So
let's hear what Mark Goldbridge had to say on this thing. Go on. When the club are leaked, when the club are back briefing.
So the rumours are that he was going out constantly, and then when he was asked a question, "Have you been out?" he barefaced lied and said, "No, I've not been out." And it turns out he had, and I think it was before the City game, and I think there was another game as well. It was like on the Friday he'd been out. So I suppose you've got kind of, if a new manager coming in, you've got to stamp your kind of authority, and players like that you can't have around.
Yeah, because you know United's greatest ever player. He never went out for a night out, did he? George Best. He never did that. But whatever. Wasn't it Belfast Rashford went to as well, was it? But anyway, whatever.
Different times, Lou.
Yeah, different times.
Listen, it's the perfect storm for Amarin. He gets to stamp his authority. I said this at the time, but like we had it with Aubameyang when Arteta came in, and they were great at first, and they were all friends, and we won the FA Cup with them two together, and then things went sour, and you've got a striker who's not performing well. He's on the biggest money, and you're trying to assert yourself as a top manager, and it's just a perfect storm. Just get shut. There's no hit to be taken from United. The best thing they can do is get them wages off the bill, and any transfer fee is a bonus. That's it. Anyway, let's move on from Manchester United and Rashford. Liam, Bolton Wanderers.
Yes.
Briefly talk to us about Schumacher and the start of this crazy rain that seems to be happening so far.
Yeah, and he's very experimental. He's trying loads of different things, loads of different players in loads of different positions. Bolton played wingers this weekend, so that was exciting. That was new. That was weird to see.
And it was 4-3, wasn't it? Last minute goal against Crawley, am I right?
4-3 win. Last minute winner. 12 minutes of added time, which tells you everything you need to know about Crawley's time wasting. I know it looks bad in the Premier League, but you should see it in the lower leagues. It is horrendous. But, the referee handled it quite well, in my opinion. We're strong, 12 minutes added time. And we got a win that I think we deserved. We worked hard. Crawley scored 3 really good goals. And if you've not seen them already, do have a look, because 3 ridiculously good finishes. And I remember sitting there at 3-1 down thinking, well, they're all good, 10 goals. It was a bit like, it is what it is. Like, we're a bit unlucky here. Crawley have done all right, but I think you could sense that we were the better side and we got the win that we deserved. And now a lot of attention goes to the cup game, which will be tonight as this goes out. So Wrexham away.
I've seen some fans on social media not be willing to take this loss and get out of this competition and just concentrate on the league. Do you stand with that? Are you for or against that?
I think we go all out in this now. We're not going to get the automatics, so we're in a playoff hunt. You don't have to win every single game in a playoff hunt. It's a very different set of terms, and we need some momentum. We've been feeling sorry for ourselves a little bit. We need, and we're very much in that hunt. Absolutely go for this competition. We're 2 games from Wembley. Like, if we win this game, it's a game against Peterborough at home. We were fighting to stay up. It's a no-brainer to go for this.
Right. Well, this weekend was the FA Cup. I got a question for you both. The magic of the FA Cup, is it alive and well? Do you have any highlights from the weekend? What did you think of all the action?
Go on, Luke. I'll let you go first.
I suppose the highlight for me is Maguire's offside goal. No VAR.
I had that on my list. What did you think of that? It started as a good header, good delivery and everything. Obviously miles offside for anyone who's not seen it. It was like the good old days of United getting a decision late on at Old Trafford.
Yeah, it was miles on. I think even Amarin after the game said completely offside. So, yeah, I think. Well, I suppose you've been the advocate of not having VAR.
Nope.
Mines.
Fuck it off.
Yeah, even though like you get things like that happening.
Even though you do, yeah. Because
if that happens in the Premier League, you're losing your mind.
To be honest, with VAR and they're going to be introducing the sort of semi-automated waterfall system of VAR soon, and if that can work in the same essence that the goal line technology works, and them two can live in that world together, that's where I draw the line. You can't. I spoke about it in the last episode, but I still like the challenge thing, but. If it's semi-automated and it's quick and it works, get that in, because then this is in this world, and I've seen some of the videos of testing. This is disallowed before it gets in the net. It's that quick. So yeah, that would be it. But otherwise, no. I'm for every offside goal at Old Trafford, I'm willing to accept them just to get rid of it and not have to deal with all this waiting around. Luckily, I'm not someone who sits in stadiums waiting for her to see what's happening. But yeah, I can't stand it.
I think this weekend was a good reminder as to why VAR is absolutely needed. I think if you have that goal go in the Premier League, you've got chaos. You've got absolute chaos. United getting that goal in the last minute. So, particular world after VAR. Pre-VAR, it's very different than after VAR. I think secondly as well, when you talk about the goal line technology, the Cunha goal at Ewood Park, that doesn't look over the line to me. That goal was given. Obviously, no goal line technology either in the fourth round, which is absolutely nuts. I don't know who agreed to that. That's just stupid.
I don't get that one because that's a stadium thing. That's like if your stadium has the ability to do it because they have cameras fixed at certain stadiums. So Blackburn being in the Championship would have this technology suited already. I guess it's to create fairness.
But with fairness with who? Like Blackburn aren't playing some random no-league non-mark team. It's fair in the game. Like it's just that's where it gets stupid. Like we're overthinking everything. But anyway, I would have VAR. And also just a point on the challenge system as well. I think that would be an interesting case study for the challenge system. Because that goal goes in and let's say those challenges have been used, because that was like the 90-odd minute, 94th minute, Luke.
Yeah.
Very, very... I always think back to a cricket challenge. I don't know if you guys will watch cricket as much as I do, but I always think about the Ashes series in England where Nathan Lyon had burned all his reviews and then he got a complete plum LBW and it was just not given and it was as plum as you get and it cost Australia winning the Ashes, really, that game. And it was just being burnt out. People who watch cricket will understand the reference. I may share it after if I remember. But it's a very much what I always think about when we talk about the challenge system.
Is the challenge is it you, Martin? You want the challenge?
I said it. Josh said it last week on the episode, but I've said it in the past as well. Yeah, like tennis. If you used it, you've used it. That's it.
Then who do you want to do it? Not the captain.
I think the captain will be the one who will go and say it. It don't really matter.
That'd be madness.
Who does it?
Bruno. Bruno Fernandes
burns both challenges in the first 3 minutes.
Over a throw-in.
Yes, United have got 2 throw-ins overturned, and then there's some stonewall penalties and handballs going on later on. No, I don't. It doesn't matter who it is, whether it's a nominated person on the sideline, but whoever, work that bit out. That's to someone's discretion. I just think that system works the best and reduces the impact of, or the crutch that is VAR for the referees.
I think your point earlier was better. The semi-automated outside. Where's that? Why is that not in yet? We were promised this. This is where we can start calling people out because that we were promised.
We were promised
that would make a big difference.
At the back end of last season. What I don't know why is it's been.
Was it in the World Cup as well? It was in the World Cup, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was brilliant. It was brilliant. This is what the Fixing Football podcast about: remembering stuff and not having the answer. But we will have the answer. And we'll come back to it. But we've remembered. So, yeah, let's get that. That'll solve it.
Other than that, Luke, good, bad. United kicks off the FA Cup weekend, so good. I mean, I guess you're just happy with the win and through.
Yeah, so we've got Fulham next at home. So, but at home doesn't mean anything nowadays with United. So, but yeah, no, it's just another cup, another trophy to win. That I'm all for that.
Okay. Any other highlights from either of you for the FA Cup weekend? I'll give you mine before we go on. And I have a fix to go along with it that I really want to.
I know what's coming here, but go on. Can I guess? Can I guess what it is?
Please.
I think you're going to highlight of the weekend is going to be the same as mine and same as anybody who watches football, which is Jamie Donnelly's a screamer in inverted commas from about 50 yard, and you're going to say the fix is that should be his goal.
Yeah, correct.
I agree.
Ruining my moment. God,
yeah,
if I could get a fucking word in this podcast, one sentence without you stealing my own sentences.
Yeah, I know. Because
sorry. I quit, and this is the Liam O'Meara podcast. Good night. Please carry on, Liam.
Well, yeah, it's a shame, innit, that it's not his moment, but the goal doesn't go in if it doesn't hit Ortega, does it? So it can't be his goal. It's not even a shot on target, if we're being brutally honest.
That's the thing. It's not an own goal if the guy doesn't shoot and it hits the bar and it goes off his back. How far back do you want to trace this chicken and egg situation?
Yeah, but the goal isn't his goal, though, is it? Because he's missed.
Yeah, but he's made it. Look, the goalkeeper doesn't. You don't have to get into the technicalities of it here. Everyone knows. I can think of two off the top of my head that like really stick in my head that annoy me that they're own goals. Do you want to guess them for me, or do I get? Shall I?
No. Go ahead.
The Jorginho one against Villa a couple of years ago, maybe 2 seasons ago. Arsenal were 2-0 down against Villa, and we come back 4-2 in the last minute. Jorginho hits the bar. It comes off. Martinez goes in, and Rooney's in Euro 2004, I think it is. He smashes it, hits the post, obviously comes back and hits the goalkeeper. They're the two that stick in my head, and they're own goals. Everyone knows that they should be Rooney's goal. He's probably claiming him in his record. Like, why can't we just everyone be on board and say, yeah, that's your goal? Like, this lad's going to have to tell people that he scored from 50 yards against City, and then he's not going to be able to prove it unless he gets some sort of like commentary up, some written commentary up about the match, and not be able to prove it to anyone.
Yeah, I get it. Because Adrian Irvin's been banging on about this for about a week. Since a goal went in, Adrian Irvin's been talking about this, but it just isn't a goal if it doesn't hit Ortega. It's a miss. So it's hard to get past that. As much as I agree, the essence is... And it was such a good moment. Like, arguably, if Leighton Orient had won, it'd been one of the great FA Cup moments. And it would have been. Like,
why are you shitting on this? I'm not asked about the technicalities. I know it doesn't go in but it does go in, so it should be that guy's goal.
Yeah, I wish I could agree. I want to agree.
Why are you trying to take it away from strikers? What's up with you?
It's just a miss, innit? Like, if you... Like, we just feel like I can't live in the... I have to live in the real world with it. Like,
if it hits the bar and goes over, yeah, that's a miss. But it doesn't. It's the bar, and the goalkeeper makes it go in the net. That's what it is.
Where do you stand, Luke? You're the decision maker.
I'm leaning towards Liam, because keeper might as well just chuck it in the back of his net.
What?
I heard it discussed on TalkSport, because I actually heard the goal because I was walking the dog. I didn't see it, heard it, and the way they described it, and I think Stuart Pearce was like, you could see the panic in Ortega as soon as shot, but ironically, had he not run back, it would have been all right. and it's true, isn't it? Like, absolute fear, but he essentially scores. So I do agree, though, mine. Like, in essence, I would love it to be his goal, but it's a miss, isn't it?
No, I'm not. I can't live in this world where you're so boring about this. These are only very limited scenarios. It's not every own goal is credited to the last person who touched it.
Yeah, but
of the attacking team.
Harry Kane will start claiming so many goals in the past, like, in his name. And you remember all them like, I swear on my daughter's life I touched it. We're going to get all back into that territory again.
Right, this is the Fixing Football podcast, unless it upsets Harry Kane. Anyone else got a highlight? Or do you want me to list them and then Liam can tell me?
Yeah, I think the big one is Liverpool losing. That's the highlight for me.
Yes.
Another one.
Talk to me about it.
Well, as Liam said, they was ill prepared for it. I think they've got their eyes on the Everton game this tomorrow or Wednesday. I think this is a big kind of... I think they could have gone for the quad. I think the team capable to do that, and I think Slaughter's kind of gone, well, I think we've got more pressing games, as in we've got the cup final, we've got Champions League, we've got Premier League to go for, and he's kind of just poo-pooed the FA Cup in a way and gone, oh well, we'll just stick the B squad out, and Plymouth have turned up.
Yeah, but everyone does. Everyone plays especially the top sides. Liverpool, top of the Premier League, top of the Champions League. Like, to field a striker who cost them 75 million quid, and Diogo Jota, and God knows who else they had on. I think Harvey Elliott started. Kelleher, who's been great this season while Alisson's been out. Like, they had a decent side. It wasn't like they plucked some under-9s out. It's like...
I think the defence and midfield were really weak. It was a really weird team because it was a really strong forward line and Kelleher is a very good goalkeeper. I agree on that. And I think the issue was the core of the team was all wrong. And I remember saying about 10 minutes into the game to Ashley, my wife, I was like, I think they'll lose here, Liverpool. I just thought the team selection was wrong. I don't necessarily fully agree with what Luke said. I don't think Slot binned it off. I think he underestimated the championship in a way that I think it's just a mistake. I think he's dropped the ball. I agree that the quad was there. I just don't think he's managed his rotation very well. I think
What do you think they have? Did you before this weekend seriously think they had the squad for the quad?
I think they could have done it. Yeah, I genuinely think. Yeah.
When you go deep into the Champions League and then you're looking at quarterfinals and semi-finals of the FA Cup, you've got the Carabao Cup final coming up. I mean, you think they had all that in the tank and to still run away with the Premier League like they are doing? Yeah,
and I'll tell you why. Because of that last point, I think they're in such a strong position in the Premier League that it meant that was the competition to rotate in a little bit, particularly with, in my opinion, their home record against teams in the bottom end. That's where I would be looking at rotate, but no one does that in the Premier League. But that would be the smarter play. If you've got games like against a Ipswich at home, or against a Southampton at home, or against even like teams like West Ham, like you are capable of doing that at Anfield, that's where you can rotate a little bit. And it doesn't necessarily need to be wholesale changes like they've done here. People like Harvey Elliott are fine. It's when you're playing absolute nobodies at the back. That's the issue. And maybe then you ask about squad depth, maybe they are one or two defenders short in hindsight to maybe mount it. You know, after Van Dijk and Canate, what have they got after that? Is probably... Because I don't really rate Kwanzaa, if I'm being completely honest. I've seen
Joe Gomez went off injured as well.
Yeah, that didn't help. So, yeah, and obviously they were resting Bradley because of Luke, like Luke rightly points out, they've got Everton midweek. But, yeah, well, it's gone now, isn't it? So now they've just got the free trophies to go push for. So, there we go.
Right, let's have a quick break. Before we have a break, this is episode 90, boys, so... Only 10 more to go until episode 100. We're going to do a special one for that. So please keep questions coming in for Q&A style podcasting. And while we're on a break, you know, over 50% of the people who listen to this aren't subscribed. So
what?
I know. So it will be a good time while we're having a little break. You just click that subscribe button and we'll see you in a minute. And we are back. So I thought this second half we could touch on a few things a little bit deeper. Spurs going out of 2 competitions within the space of a week. Obviously you get to that at the crunch time of the Carabao Cup and then this time in the FA Cup. But it's not looking good for Ange, is it, Liam? No, you're a fan still, but it's not looking good, is it?
No. I think it's been a weird week for Ange because... I did empathise with him a little bit after the Liverpool game because everyone could see from that lineup, particularly those injuries at the centre of defence where it's been consistent injuries, and it's such a key part of the pitch. You're going away to Anfield, you would not want injuries there.
Yeah.
And after the game, when he was being asked about it, you know, like how poor it is, he's saying, "Well, we're in a semi-final. Like, is it like?" And I did kind of think we're catastrophising Spurs a little bit, maybe more than we do other teams, but then to go out of the FA Cup, and again, against the team in the Champions League away from home, it's not, in isolation, it's not a ridiculous result. But the truth is he's running out of avenues to turn this season into a success, and that's his issue. Now,
he hasn't got any. Really? No.
Well, he's got one, the big one for Spurs, isn't it? And it is for Man United, which is the Europa League. That is where both of their teams' season lies because that's qualification for the Champions League. And arguably they're the 2 best teams remaining in that competition, both of them. But are the Spurs fans running out of patience? And that's what will be the deciding factor, because I think Levy will stick with him, but I don't know if the Spurs fans will allow him to.
Do you think he did enough, or Tottenham did enough in January to address? He's been moaning about injuries since the start of the season. So, do you think he's done enough? They only brought in Tell on loan, and is it Danso?
Danso, yeah, centre back. They were chasing centre backs all window, weren't they? And
yeah, but like, get some over the line, get bodies in. If you're moaning about bodies in, you can.
But they got a keeper as well, didn't they?
And the keeper, sorry, yeah.
Was it Kinski?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's not been amazing, but he's a young lad, isn't he? A young lad in the Premier League.
They signed a 19-year-old midfielder and stuck some gloves on him. Like,
yeah. So the answer's no, they haven't, and I think that's why a lot of the criticism from Spurs fans is directed towards Levy, because obviously we've talked a lot about this idea of the amazing business that Spurs are. You know, they are the best run football club in the world, arguably, with what they've got. But at some point, do you divert some of that funds into trying to be a successful football team? And I think a lot of people are now focusing there. And I kind of get that from a Spurs. If I was a Spurs fan, as much as I'm not trying to admonish Ange of any blame here, and I think Luke will want to talk about Ange in a minute, but they have tried every type of manager. I know I've repeated this point a few times, but they've had Conte, Mourinho, Villas-Boas. They've had all these different types of managers, and none of them have been able to really deliver for Spurs. And there has to be something in that. So, yeah, that's kind of where I am with Spurs. What do you think, Luke?
Yeah, I just wanted to bring up this kind of pattern I've been seeing recently, and Ange gets a lot directed to him with this. It's this kind of live by the sword, die by the sword attitude on like the structure and formation and philosophy that like is not willing to change. This is how we play. I think it's getting frustrating, and I don't want to bring it back to United, but it's a similar situation there where maybe it's a stubbornness. They want to play their way and there's no changing. But surely, like, I remember watching back in the day, like there was in-game management. You would change things. It just seems like everything's just kind of structured now. This is the way we play. This is how we pass.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you've got other examples as well, Luke. I think you picked a good one there. I think Russell Martin at Southampton, Vincent Kompany at Burnley. So I do think you're onto something here.
I think the best, maybe the two of the best proponents against this would be Emery, who I think has really good in-game management, and Eddie Howe. They're two managers who really do change the system to suit the need of it. I can't stand what Ange's doing. I think Amorim is going to get a bit more slack because he's come mid-season and he's trying to imprint himself, and he's set his stall out to say we're going to play this way and this is it. Now, Ange had a little bit of success with this, like last season when they were top and they won 9 out of 10 or something at the start of the season. So he's coming with the same attitude, but to be now nearly 2 years into the job and still sticking with it, it must. I mean, there's a lot to be frustrated at if you're a Tottenham fan, but to go and watch and to know that the manager is willing to take a defeat rather than just change the system even a little bit, chuck an extra defender in there, just change the whole system around to stop losing and do something. Maybe you might get a bit more money to spend if you look like you're willing to actually fucking do something. I can't. I'm sick of it. The Vincent Kompany thing really fucked me off last season. Russell Martin as well. Like, you can't be so naive and stubborn to come into the Premier League and think you're just going to do what you could do in the Championship and play away football just because you... I mean, Vincent Kompany's one was really obvious that he was after a bigger job later down the line. Russell Martin definitely trying to put himself in the shop window, although I think his intentions were a bit better with Southampton. I don't know if that works. There was always sort of a determination from Kompany, and he was public about that he wanted a bigger job and the biggest jobs in football, which he it did end up working out for him. He ended up getting the Bayern Munich job.
Doing quite well as well.
Yeah. And it wouldn't surprise me if Russell Martin was, the first name on a lot of people's lips if a top championship team ends up sacking the manager.
Well, is that type of football, that dynamic kind of in-game management, is that dead now? Have we got to the point with football now where everything is just so structured and you've got to play in this certain way? Like, and I don't want to point into Arsenal, but there is a kind of situation there. Like last few games, and I heard Gary Neville say it seems like you kind of put the handbrake on and you recycle a ball, and you're just trying to pass it around instead of you can see when you do attack, you usually score. It just seems like you kind of putting the handbrake on. Maybe it's a situation at City as well with Pep. Pep's unwilling to change his kind of systems and his way of playing. Is that where we're going?
It's two things. I think you're right about Arsenal and Arteta's in-game management. I think, fortunately for him, we have built a good squad of players who are just better than most other teams, especially at this current time. So we get away with it more often than not. But if we were to go through a period like what Guardiola has gone through, I don't know how we would feel, and Arsenal fan base is particularly fun when we're going through bad patches. So, yeah, I don't think that would play out too well. But there's a lot to be seen, and it's a lot of the reason why people want this striker now, so you can change things up and do things differently. With Guardiola, it's mad that, he does want to play this way, but he has the best goalkeeper in history with his feet and one of the best strikers of all time. Like, his goal scoring record is ridiculous. And you've seen it on multiple occasions where they can just go route one if they want to. So Man City have got all the ingredients plus an amazing goalkeeper and striker who they can just ping it up to. Obviously, this shit's not worked out for them. They've been through the shit, so I don't really care about them. So what was the last bit of your question? Are we going to see it more?
Yeah, is this what we're going to see now? It's just this type of football.
Well, can you if I was to offer you Emery or Eddie Howe now, would you take them, or would you rather stick with this Project Amorim?
Definitely take Emery, 100%. I've always been an admirer of him. The way United's playing, like that first half, was comical. It seemed like we can't pass the ball 5 yards, 10 yards, never mind playing in a system. And I'm not having players can't, like, us three have all played football. We've all played different systems. I'm not having a professional footballer that can't function properly in lots of different systems. I don't understand. I think we're getting to a point now where lots of teams are not doing well because either structure or stubbornness are not willing to change.
Do you think, and like you, anyone in a WhatsApp group that I'm involved in seems to be quite quick to jump on Arteta, but the fact that he was like micromanaging a lot of it most of the time, and he's calmed down a lot, especially this season, but he's been known for, being on top of the players a lot and really trying to control it like fucking Sabutio style. And do you think you're seeing that with Amorim, and he's not getting that, or that message clearly isn't getting through too much? Do you think he's managing it too much?
Possibly, yeah. Or players not understanding the system. What I find is maybe players are overthinking in the system and they're panicking and they're thinking, right, if I don't pass it this way, or I'm in the wrong position, I'm going to get kind of dug out at half time. I don't understand that. I think it's quite daunting what position we are in the league. I don't know. It's a difficult one, isn't it? It's what do you do? Like, I think as well, these kind of systems and formations, it's kind of taking the maverick players out as well. You're seeing less and less of them. Like they're willing to kind of hit the scruff of the game. It seems a bit more robotic now. I think that's where we're going with it.
I There's two things, Ellie. I think United, the biggest issue is movement. I don't think after your first 11, I think the players aren't up to the physicality of Amarin's new system. And that will take a long time to sort out. So I think when you've got your starting 11 with your, for example, Maguire in that commanding centre-back role, he likes that type of position. And when you've got Agate and Menu as your starting two midfielders, that makes a big difference. Ahmad is a bit of a problem because he's playing so well that they've promoted him into that one of those central attacking midfield players. That works. Bruno has no positional awareness, so he struggles because he ends up all over the place. I think that compromises the system. And your centre forward, you haven't got one that he trusts. He's made that very clear by playing fucking Manu up front. So the issue is athleticism in midfield after Agate and Manu aren't there, and that compromises everything. And it'll take time. I actually think he's a good manager, Amarim. And I think that will take time. On the second regarding structures and Mavericks, the best team in the world are Real Madrid, and they have no structure and are full of Mavericks. So I think a lot of it is about competing and how much the manager wants to imprint. And I think it's a lot of it to do with personality. I think a lot of it comes from Guardiola. He doesn't want the players to be centre stage. He is centre stage. It's about him. It's not about his players. It's always about him. That's what all these gestures always are for him. Whereas if you look at Ancelotti at Real, you know, he's there half the time. Just up there, just eyebrowing people, just doing his own thing, probably feet up, relaxing. And I think that's what it is, Luke. It's about egos and wanting to put their own imprint. And I think that's key to a lot of this. We probably put too much emphasis on the manager role in football than maybe other sports do.
So let me take it back to Spurs then for a second. Are the players just not up to it, and is Ange taking a lot of the flack?
In my view, without the centre-backs, they're not up to it because the whole system's compromised, because they're so vulnerable. And if you watch them, they are very good in what they do, like winning the ball at the pitch and then attacking quickly. They're very good at it, and they're really good to watch. But the problem is when you got Archie Gray and Ben Davies playing centre-back against Premier League forward line, and that's it. Like, you've got no chance, particularly if you're playing so high up. So I do agree that he potentially should consider that, because if you keep losing games, you're going to lose faith in your system. So you have to compromise to an extent. But with Archie Gray and Ben Davies at the back, you've got no chance. And that's just the truth of the matter. In the same way that if United played a high line with Lindelof, Martinez, and Maguire, and Evans, it'd be the same thing, which is why Ten Hag abandoned that after 2 weeks, because he realised that Maguire getting the ball on the half turn may not work the way it was working when Martinez was maybe doing that at Ajax. So yeah, he has to change, but he hasn't, and I think he'll pay the price. All
right, and last point, Luke, on Man United. Amarim looked furious, even though they'd won on Friday. Like, he was annoyed at the fact that you scored a goal that he knew was offside, and he was definitely not happy with the performance. Do you think all is well there, or it's like teething pains? He's struggling to adapt, or what? I mean, what's your view on Amarim and things going forward, and sort of where he is now as well?
Yeah, I like that. The Mick McCarthy little clip.
It can.
Yeah, that's what it feels like sometimes. It's again, that first half performance was abysmal. It was comical, like, and to Liam's point, yes, that midfield they were just pinging the ball around, and it was like our midfield was non-existent. But it seemed like we was getting somewhere not so long ago when we had Kobe and Agate in that centre role and Fernandes kind of in the more attacking position. It seemed like, I don't know why we've regressed, and he's put Bruno into more like a quarterback role. I don't know if what I'm saying is I can't see it continuing where Ruben's allowed to just pick and choose a lot of different players, in different positions. You just can't keep going on with that. And maybe he might come to the end of the season and go, "This is too far. It's too much to kind of do.
All right. Well, we'll have to put a pin in it. I'm sure we'll come back to Man United before the season is over. Liam, I wanted to touch on something that came out from the Chelsea camp this week, and that was about Todd Boehly owning or having majority shares, or the company that he's part of has majority shares in one of these ticket reselling websites. And Chelsea FC tickets, home tickets, being made available on there for 10x, 20x, whatever you want to call it, the prices are. Kicked up a massive stink. Seems to have dropped off the radar like as quickly as it arrived. When I first heard about this story, I was pretty disgusted and surprising that more wasn't made of it, or it still isn't being made of it. What were your thoughts when you heard about this?
I don't like rehashing other people's opinions of my own. I'd hate people to accuse me of that. But I did listen to The Price of Football talking about this, and I must admit I completely agreed with their view on it.
Well, you can credit them. Just credit them and repeat it, because
I will.
Might not listen.
Well, they may not listen, but they would listen because we're an award-nominated podcast. But what I did think about their opinion was that it was spot on. I don't know why a billionaire's getting involved in that kind of thing when it's so little wealth in comparison to... What's he worth? 6 billion, Todd Boehly? Like, what are you doing?
Can I just ask, like, so we put this to Scott in our WhatsApp group. Scott's obviously our Chelsea resident expert. He, I don't know, took the view that some other Chelsea fans did take on X and across social media that, yeah, he's probably got his a piece of the pie, but how much involved is he? And, you know, is he... and I just can't get my head around the fact that people think a billionaire, someone in his position and wealth, and clearly good at business he is, that he wouldn't have any understanding of what is going on and it being wrong.
Yeah, but I think Chelsea fans have this weird edginess when it comes to sort of like being a bit sus in terms of what you're up to. They seem to think that's part of like the Chelsea identity.
Yeah, is it technically illegal?
Yeah, but let's be fair, right? Ticket taping is illegal in the UK. So what I don't understand is if you're selling these internationally, which I believe it is internationally. Yeah. Is that legal still? I mean, these tickets are still technically UK tickets. So I don't understand the legalities of it, to be completely honest. But
the legalities is that there isn't any lines being crossed here by what Todd Boehly is involved with. I don't know if the line is drawn when these tickets go direct to the website and then they're being upsold. But what's to say Todd Boehly isn't selling 100 season tickets that he hasn't got in fake names? Now, this is just a hypothetical, but if he could have 100 season tickets in all different names, Jod Boehly, Fred Boehly, and Critic Boehly, whoever you want to do it. Rolly Boehly. That, you know, these tickets just aren't being resold under that guise. I mean, you don't know how people will be getting around it, and it's
a very cynical view to take.
Yes, well, how else is a website being able to sell these without?
Well, this is it, innit? And what we like 2 months down the line from, you can buy a ticket to sit next to him if you want to. Without being offered, so just fucking stupid. Like,
what was the prices? What was the prices they're going for?
They vary in where they sit, but I don't know if you've been on any of these ticket reselling websites, but they're crazy money. And especially for Chelsea, a lot of the London clubs, the upsale value, because London's such a tourist attraction, and places like Tottenham, Arsenal and Chelsea are, you know, viable tourist attractions.
Well, this is it, innit? So you're looking at people, international tourists with infinite wealth, of which there are a lot that come to the UK. That particularly London clubs, where countries, you know, like I say, high net worth individuals come on for a holiday, and, you know, 10, 15k is absolutely nothing to them.
Just have to look at the Korean market that Tottenham have really want to keep their finger on the pulse. I know they bought another future Korean star in one of the previous windows as well.
Well, this is it.
I don't want to put my tin foil cap on, but could it be linked to your PSR? As in, if they're selling tickets for X, God knows, and it's all revenue.
Well, I don't think so because the revenue wouldn't go through Chelsea. So back end it would. What he's doing is he, for a subsidiary company, is generating. Well, he's involved with both parties. So he, through a subsidiary company, is generating higher ticket prices for Chelsea on X amount of tickets for a lot more money. Some are you're looking at £300 upwards for just a random ticket, up to thousands.
My concern with this is just, for me, it's just some further Americanization of maximising every single ticket sale, where we end up with NFL type ticket prices where the average ticket's over $600 a game. So it, to me, just stepping more and more in that direction.
Well, if you look at the New York Knicks, they sell out every game, and they are perennially blah blah. What is that word? They are forever shit. They haven't done anything in terms of success for a long, long time. But they play in Madison Square Garden, and New York's full to the brim every night, every year. So they could play however many games they want. Madison Square Garden is going to be full. They could charge hundreds for a ticket, right up in the top stands. And I've been one of them fans, and it's amazing. But yeah, I would hate to be a season ticket holder. What?
I imagine watching basketball's quite boring until the last 10 minutes. I mean, I don't know.
That's true.
It's fun as a tourist to go and just.
Oh no, yeah, I get that. Yeah, fair enough. I just wondered at the actual game.
If I was well into basketball, it probably not the best experience. There's probably a lot better things you can go and do. Say with the Las Vegas Raiders, just moved out to the edge of the New York Strip. They're doing a very similar thing. It's basically what Tottenham are going to become. I'm not surprised if they change Hotspur to something crazy American in the future, because
that's the Spurs Bowl.
Yeah, it's on the cards.
Not really that clever. I thought that was more clever when I thought about it in my head, but it's just not really that clever.
Needs to sort the parking out if they're going to do anything like that.
Yeah, they do. That's true. That. Did we hear anything about that?
No.
Leave it there.
So, Luke, what are your thoughts on this? You spoke before about getting tickets for. You spoke about your brother's season ticket and being able to transfer them and having to pay and stuff. I mean, but what about Chelsea? And say you heard that Jim Ratcliffe had a company where he was reselling Man United tickets for £700 a seat. This Wembley of the North, where he had his own stand and he was taking all the profits.
Oh, Jim Ratcliffe is not the best in the best eyes of all United fans at the moment, especially with the ticket sales, where how he's kind of increased even the kids' price, the same price as an adult.
Yeah.
So, to your question, I'd be probably fucked off, to be honest.
Keep the little scruffs out. It's well annoying kids in football. It's noisy, just fucking on the phones all the time. I'm on board with this, me.
Should never have got that Wi-Fi done at the tough sheet.
They never did it in the end. It was all lies, like everything else. They sit on a throne of lies. They never built the Wi-Fi. That's all they banged on about. They haven't even changed the pitch yet. 2 years they've been changing that pitch. Anyway, sorry, go on. Learn about Jim Ratcliffe, Luke.
Yeah, no, I'd be really fucked off as a fan if Jim Ratcliffe was doing that. But I think Liam's hit the nail on the head about it's just Americanized kind of situation where they just want most profit out of everything.
So what do we do, Liam?
Well, I do worry, and I think this is a topic for another day, about the voter block that American clubs are getting in both the Football League and the Premier League. It does concern me, because as soon as you get to 14 and 15, it starts getting very sketchy about what the Premier League could look like. And I know we're that conspiracy theorist, but I do think Gary Neville's onto something when he talks about this. It is a very concerning voter block for me. But so I think we should talk about foreign ownership and things, but I do think limits on amount from one country would be a consideration for me. How that would actually play out with promotion and relegation, I don't know, but I am concerned about American ownership.
What have we missed here with the Chelsea thing? Because I feel like because there's no like legal lines being crossed, that we're just sort of pissing into the wind a little bit. But it's sketchy as shit, innit?
Chelsea fans should care more. Oh, sorry, go on, Luke.
Are they a ticking time bomb, Chelsea? I've been thinking this for a while. Just the amount of money they've spent recently, and all the kind of shenanigans that's been coming out. Are they a ticking time bomb? Is it going to be coming in a year's time with like they're just going to be done for fraud and everything?
I don't know about that, but I do think Chelsea fans should care more. That's a problem, I think. I think Chelsea fans, like you said, Martin, Chelsea fans seem to be making excuses for it. When I think if this was any other club, they'd be outraged. Look at the way United are about the way those ticket prices are. And that's an owner that theoretically was the messiah a year ago, but United fans are quite rightfully pissed off about it. But you've got Fulham fans pissed off with their ticket situation. Arsenal fans seem to be all right about it, but kind of a bit annoyed. But fair enough. But Chelsea fans seem to go, well, yeah, I think it's clever, what they're doing. Like they need to be more outraged, and I think that's where things will come from. So my fix would be to try and educate Chelsea fans to see some fucking sense.
Educate Chelsea fans.
Starting with one in particular.
This might be the hardest fix we've come up with yet, mate. Right, I don't have a fix. I think Chelsea fans need to be in protest and need to speak up for those who are going to end up missing out. They've been very vocal when it comes to getting a new stadium and the pitch and the name and all sorts of stuff like that when it comes to that side of it. But squeezing out these legacy fans who've been going for years and years because Todd Boehly wants to make a couple £100 per ticket further on down the line. I think Chelsea fans need to be a bit more outraged together, though.
You know the fix, Martin. The fix is get rid of Americans. No Americans.
I quite like ours at the moment.
Yeah.
Maybe when we start losing, I might be on board with that.
Yeah.
Unless they buy Bolton with loads of wealth, then I would, respect and appreciate our new American overlords.
Which Hollywood celebrity would you like to buy Bolton Wanderers?
Oh, God, that's the kind of question I need to be more prepared for, because I don't like a lot of Hollywood celebrities.
Get an Avenger.
I am very against it. Yeah, I don't. Do you know why I'm against it fundamentally? I don't like the idea of us becoming a bit of a circus and a bit of everyone else's kind of human interest story. That would annoy me. It's why if the Mirrors didn't want Big Sam back, because everyone would be like, "Oh, it's just great, innit? You get Kevin Nolan in as well," and I'd just be like, "Fuck off, mate!" Like
more eyes is more money, Liam.
Yeah, but I know, but I always want us to be serious, though. Do you know what I mean?
You've got a comical stadium name because you've got some jokes who've been coming in and trying to pump a little bit of money in. You want the big dogs in. Get
I don't
Robert
see what's
Downey Jr.
joke about
and Hugh
really
Jackman.
reliable sheet metal business, man. And I don't see what's joke about that. No, I don't want any. No, unless no.
What about the remaining cast of Friends if they all piled in the money?
No.
plus Gunther. We'll chuck him in. Luke, any suggestions for the new Bolton Wanderers owners? There's got to be someone who Liam likes. You can't just like Stuart Lee and reading the Bible at night. It's got to be someone like who we can rally for.
What about Jesus?
Jesus Christ. Oh,
the Pope.
Oh yeah.
Like the Vatican. Become like a Vatican. Yeah, I could get behind that. That'd be interesting.
Turn Bolton into its own state.
Yeah. Well, free Orich. We've been banging this drum for a few years, haven't we? So, no, there's no celebrity ownership I would like.
That's boring.
Sorry.
Not fun.
If you can think of one, then
I'll just give you loads of examples. What about the cast of Top Gear, like Jeremy Clarkson and Richard Hammond and that British?
Are you joking? I honestly couldn't. Like, no. Let's move on because you've not won me over yet.
This is it. This is the closing piece. This is my big hitter.
The big hitter. The cast of Top Gear.
Right. Jesus.
Jesus Christ.
And the Vatican.
The Vatican. Okay. I support the Vatican buying Bolton Wanderers. They've probably got better things to spend the money on, but if they want to buy Bolton Wanderers, I would not be against the Vatican buying Bolton.
Right, well, on that bombshell, we'll leave it there. Right, thanks, boys. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and do all that stuff. Follow us on social media. You can find all the information for all that stuff at www.fixingfootballpodcast.com. And we will see you on the next one. Please make sure you get your questions and stuff sent in, and we'll see you soon. Bye, everyone.
Goodbye.